Well, hello, and welcome to the Personalization with Ninetail Bootcamp course, lesson number 8, how to make personalization a success. Today presented by Andy Kaiser, the CEO and founder of Ninetail. If you want to learn more about him, just watch the interview in the introduction section of this course on headlesscreator.com. Having said that, let's bring on Andy. Andy, welcome back. I'm going to go away. It's all yours, sir.
Okay, welcome everyone to this new lesson, how to make personalization a success. And let's start with some stats. 85% of businesses say they are providing personalized experiences to consumers. On the other hand, 60% of consumers say they will repurchase after a personalized experience. However, almost half of the consumers think that they receive some level of personalization. Yes, some level. So why aren't more companies enjoying the benefit that the personalization can provide? And there are many reasons. Of course, the reasons like the wrong technology stack, the lack of mindset, the complexity of data. So complexity of data can be lack of data, data silos, etc. And also one thing we see is like handling personalization as a one-shot game. So always it's about the process. And that's what we will see today, how to make it successful through this process. So first of all, personalization is a maturity and learning process. And if we think about the maturity, as we have seen in previous lessons, the personalization, they have different maturity levels. It starts in the initial stage with one-to-all until it gets to a very advanced stage with hyper-personalization with one-to-one. And on the other hand, as we have seen also in a previous lesson, there are 4 steps in the personalization process. The first one is collecting the data. The second one is defining the segments or audiences. And the step 3 is really the personalization happening to the customer. And we have a 4th step, which is really about refining. It's about learning. It's about testing. It's about measuring the success. And as we have seen, it's really about iterations. It's really about a culture of continuous iterations. So there are different models you can use when you think about iterations, about learning, about process. But I like the combination of these 3. The first one, it's design thinking, which is very valuable if you are looking into discovery stage, into generating ideas, into identifying what is the problem your customers are facing. And in the case of personalization, what could be the personalized experiences which could be interesting. On the other hand, we have a second step, which is the lean process. And this is really about building a proof of concept or building a first iteration. And here it's what we are validating is the value of a personalized experience. And the last step, it's an agile management or an agile approach where we keep up with the changes and we develop value. So it's really about iterating, about learning, about improving.
Real quick question on that, on
Yep.
those 3 steps, or those 3 processes. Is there one that's more important than the other? Let's say a company decides not to build a POC. Do you recommend like, look, do all of this to make sure this is successful, or does one is a bit more important than the other?
There's not really one more important than the other. It's more like how you combine it. There are organizations which only approach it from an agile perspective. So they have,
Right.
for example, their Scrum processes and deliver personalization in a Scrum process. Others apply only design thinking. Other applies more a lean approach, but it's more a conceptual part where you start developing an idea, identifying what could be the problem, what could be the solution, etc., and then you test the solution. And the lean process is really about not trying to make everything final solution. It's really about starting with iteration, starting with the first iteration, learning, and then based on this learning, improving the whole process, but also the personalizations. So it's really about more a mindset than really a process where you say like, okay, it's first one, then the second, and then the third. And we see it for example, from a kind of design thinking, it's being introduced in a lot of organizations with their success. And on the other hand, agile processes, which come more from the development perspective, are also being implemented in a business form or business perspective. So again, it's really about a mindset of identifying what is the problem, what could be the solution, and then iterating with the learnings from every iteration.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
And if we think about what we need to build up this agile capabilities, it's really about a commitment. And it's committing to the agile management or to agility. And most importantly, it's really about cross-functional teams. And if we think about personalization has an impact in different teams, can affect different teams, from marketing teams to e-com teams to designers, content creators, whatever. But it's really that everyone learns rapidly and executes rapidly, because it's not about a one shot. It's really about a progress, and it's really about learning and applying the learnings in the next iterations. But where do we start? And the first thing is really about building and developing what we call personalization skills. And when we talk about personalization, we usually think about, again, what we have said previously about collecting data. We think about like, oh, wait, what data should I collect? We think about the technology stack. We think about like, what is the best way of segmenting users? So we're always focusing more on the personalization side, but there is something we forgot always, and it's one very important factor, more important than all this data and technology, and it's the people. And